Console gaming as we know it might officially be over. If you haven't heard, about a week ago, Sony lost their goddamn minds, announcing that they would end production of physical video games starting in January of 2028. This effectively creates a little monopoly within the PlayStation Store, as if you own a PlayStation and want to play video games, any games coming out after 2028, you can only buy from the PlayStation Store. There's no going and buying physical copies from any retailers anywhere, really. And to hell with used games. Sony now gets to control what price you buy these games at without any real competition, as long as you play or own a PlayStation. And yeah, well, Sony's getting a lot of the heat right now. It doesn't look like Xbox is going to be doing anything special, as there's been rumors that they're trying to find a way where you can take your physical media and digitalize it, and that goes along with that Project Helix sounds like itself is not going to have a disk drive and be an only digital console as well. That's on top of the fact that they're having a whole bunch of other financial problems and having to do this big Xbox reset. I hate to say it, the only one that looks like it's doing good, and I feel confident in saying past 2030 will not only be surviving but probably thriving, is Nintendo, as they're the only people not laying people off and making dumbass decisions. Last time I got pissy with them is because they released Switch 2, and I thought it just cost a lot of money, which now it's the cheapest console that you can buy. They also like to sue the shit out of people for doing anything that remotely threatens their dominance, but I guess right now that's besides the point. Now, while this does suck, and if you're somebody who doesn't think that this sucks, you're delusional, this has been coming for a long time, really. We've seen these companies. It's not just like it's only PlayStation or Xbox. It's also been Ubisoft, Epic, Activision, Take-Two, etc., where it started with something like monetization, as they try to get more money out of you the easiest way possible, and they try to heighten their profit by any way possible. And eventually, more recently, it came into where we were getting the digital game key cards. So I know it was on some Switch games, but the game I have specifically that I bought and didn't know that you needed, it wasn't really the full game, is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Which, if you don't know, it says right here, if you can't see it, which I'll do a picture if you can't see it. Internet required. The full game's not on here. There is a disc. Doesn't matter. It's just a key that allows you to download the game from the internet. For a while now, these companies have been wanting us to buy more digital media, digital games, because for them it's more profitable. See, if, I don't know, God of War Ragnarok releases, it releases at $70 for the physical edition and for the digital edition. That goes for all games. And they make more money off of the digital versions, as they don't have to produce a disc. So really, I mean, if anything, the digital versions of these games that we buy that are the same price as the physical should be cheaper, but of course, no, they know, and they've known for a very long time, that they can get away with charging the same price. An example, I don't know if it's the best example, but it does make sense, is Hollow Knight Silksong, being from an indie studio. It released as a digital only with promise of a disc coming eventually. In Hollow Knight Silksong, a great game, one of the greatest games I've ever played, it sold for only $20 for the digital edition wherever you bought it, right? Now, the physical edition, if you want to have the physical copy in your hands, costs $40. Now, I might say that's a lot more money, but to be honest, Team Cherry deserved to charge full price for that game without how good it was compared to the other slop I've paid $60 or $70 for in my life. But as it stands now, we're not treated fairly when it comes to digital media. And even worse, it's not like what we buy digitally we own. We're buying a license. It's a rental until further notice. As for whatever reason, whether it be the publisher or the console developer themselves, they can just revoke your license. And then there goes your game. There goes the money. And if you don't believe me, before they announced that they were ending the physical production of video games, Sony also revoked licensing for over 500 movies that people had purchased. See, that's what happens in the world of digital ownership. Everything that you buy to own forever can be taken away from you in a whim, as we've already seen. That's not to mention that even if we could trust PlayStation or Xbox for that matter, to not screw us over with these licensing agreements and whatnot, that you're still killing an entire other market that makes gaming more accessible to more people. There's multiple examples of games being full price still or near full price on the digital storefronts such as the PlayStation Store, while costing something between, $20, $30 cheaper if you buy a physical edition at something like a Walmart. And there's a lot of people who go around shopping for specifically used games. You're killing the entire used games market by going digital only. You can't go and buy some pre-owned game for half the price or whatever the markdown is on it because they won't exist anymore. If you want to buy an old game, you can't go buy it from a friend or from a store. You can't lend it from somebody. You have to purchase it on the storefront that's associated with your console. If you're somebody who really doesn't think that the ending of physical games or physical media is a big deal, you're an idiot because killing physical games benefits absolutely nobody. There's no positive for it. It's only a con. Why should we have to give that up? Why should that have to be ended? The only person it benefits is whoever gets you to buy the stupid ass games on their stupid ass monopolized storefront. Even if you only buy digital games, there's no reason why ending physical gaming is a good thing for anybody. Look, man, I think it's time. As long as this all goes through, which I'm going under the assumption it is because these companies are that stupid, buy a PC. Just just buy a PC. There's no reason to buy a console if you can't have the physical media, if you can't own anything. And if you have a PlayStation or an Xbox or even a Switch and you buy just from that store, the only place you can buy anything on those consoles is from their associated stores. At least if you go on PC, there's multiple different ways to buy video games, even though Steam's obviously the best one, but there's other markets for the video games on a PC. Plus these digital only consoles, as they're trying to kill physical media, sounds like they're going to cost a grand or more when they finally come out the next generation. So I mean, you might as well just spend the extra money and get something like a PC so that you can be in a better situation because at least there's some type of competition, even if you don't physically own the game. And honestly, that makes it so much worse that you have to take a console and compare it to PC because the whole appeal of consoles is that you have a lower barrier to entry, that they're usually cheaper to buy and more accessible to introduce people or to get people into gaming. I mean, really, with killing physical media, upping the prices of how much consoles cost, and having a greedy ass storefront, what makes it worth buying a console now? There's no point in doing it, I guess, unless again you're Nintendo because you make a lot of exclusives, and as greedy as you might be in your own right, at least you care about the stuff you put out. No more opening a gift for kids on Christmas, and they open it up to see the new game that they've been wanting. Now, what do we give them? Like a stupid ass one of them little cards that have the little code on the back, so that you can have to buy the game for probably a higher price, obviously, than you could have bought it for physically. The way I see it, unless you're a PlayStation bootlicker or something of the sort, the only way that we should be going about this is stop buying digital games. If you're on PlayStation, maybe take the next year and a half to not buy the digital games, buy physical, at least show them where you're actually buying the games. Besides that, I mean, I have a PC, and it's expensive, so it's not easy for everybody. But if you have the ability to purchase a PC, you should, at least if you're going to play games digitally, do it on the best market possible. At least if you have a PC, you'll have a wider array of gaming, as there's multiple ways to play video games on there. It's funny. Every time I think PlayStation can't do any worse, I thought Destiny was about as low as it would get for a while. So much for that. That was just a fucking a side story. I mean, I knew they weren't gonna stop, but I mean, geez, I mean, at least give us a moment to breathe. Damn. Hopefully, we can. There's enough pushback, financially, since that's the only way these companies actually can hear any of the common people. that the physical gaming can survive. That's what I want to happen. I don't trust that these companies give a shit or will do that, but who knows? Enough outrage, you know? In conclusion, screw Sony, screw Microsoft, screw all the greedy ass companies that have led to us being in this predicament. They can go eat somebody's big fat toe and yeah, deuces.